Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family. Crypto Nation and mining family. What's going on? And of course, like always, it's not financial advice. Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what's going on? So, definitely got ourselves a little bit of a different one going on for today. Going to be doing some board repairs. You can see I've got this like really cool little tube sitting next to me. This is for my Quick 861 DW hot air workstation or hot air reflow station, so you can sit there and heat up motherboards and stuff like that. Yo, what's going on, grits, my man? So gonna be basically I've done small board repair back when I was in junior high, grammar school, junior high. My folks owned a electronic repair store way before Blockbuster Video had come out. It was called Blockbuster in my area took over the Hollywood right, was it Hollywood Video stores? I think that's, or no, West Coast Videos. That's what it was. West Coast Video stores in my area were all bought out by Blockbuster. West Coast Videos, you know, it's like a little place where you can sit there, rent VCR, you can rent tapes and stuff like that, games, all that stuff. It was basically Blockbuster. And they had a service where you can bring in your TVs or VCRs if it had any issues, especially if it was like lightning damage and it got surged and, you know, blew out components, or just over the years you've spilled something on it. So basically that's where I cut my teeth initially before I even got into the automotive industry, was that I was doing small electronic repair. A lot of the stuff never had any kind of schematics on it. I was just basically rooting around with a multimeter going, oh, this color resistor with these stripes on it. Yo, what's going on, Sarth? So it's like we had, you'd be rooting around with a multimeter going, okay, this resistor has, sorry, yes, this program is rated F for fucking awesome. But it was like, you'd be rooting around with a multimeter, no schematic diagrams, because back in the day, there was no such thing as right to repair. They figured that if you opened it up, voided all warranty, you on your own, buddy. But at the same time, if you were outside of your warranty, a VCR back in the day costed a few $100s. The repair on that was like $100 to repair anything on there. Yes, cat, you can get up off my lap. Thank you, buddy. You make things a little bit more difficult when I got you on my lap. Love my cats, but sometimes they get a little needy and they're like, oh, I want you to pet me right now. It's like, dude, I'm trying to start a video. No, don't do this. So, like I was saying, it's like, learning how to do component repair, which is something that you're seeing less and less and less of that lately, which is a shame, because basically we've gotten into a throw-it-away society. Instead of repair what still works, even though it's not the fastest thing on the block, but everybody wants the latest and greatest technology, throw everything away from the past, burn it all down, throw it all away, knock it over, make sure that nobody knows what it was. I'm kind of the person that actually enjoys doing repairs and stuff like that. So I haven't messed with any of these machines in a long time. I mean, a hot air rework station, I never used one whenever I was younger. Neither did my folks. We just had soldering irons and multimeters. So we were basically doing what they call cold solder joints, where we were not warming up the PCB in any way, shape, or form. We were merely going after components, desoldering them off, using solder wick to pull the old solder off, heating up the components, grabbing them, of course, grabbing them with some tweezers. These ones actually, I'm going to be checking them out. These ones were jewelry tweezers. It looked like it would be a pretty decent kit. It was like $15 to get it from Amazon. They look like it had everything that I need. Bunch of different ones on here. So let me put that right up over there. I've got my Hakko FM203 soldering iron station. Eventually, I will get the tweezer, the hot tweezers that Hakko has, because my machine will support both. Awesome. It's just a matter of getting everything. The hot tweezers were like an extra. God, I was like almost $300 for it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna DCA into this. Let's dollar cost average. I'm not gonna grab everything all at once. It was bad enough between the quick hot air rework station and the Hakko soldering iron and a few of the other components. I'm over $1,000 in on equipment right now. So definitely going to be getting back and doing all this. So let's kind of dive in. I've got some things to practice on, considering I haven't, especially I want to check out and learn how to do the hot air rework station. That's going to be my main thing for today, because soldering I know how to do. That I have never had an issue with. I've got years of practice on that, especially like with automotive, soldering wires back together, shrink tubing them so that they're waterproofed again. So soldering is something I never lost trade of, but to use this thing, this is going to be a different one. So what I've got here are a few risers. Hey, what's happening, Crypto Mikkel? My man. So basically what I'm going to start off with is basically I've got some broken risers that it doesn't matter if I damage any of the components on there, especially the squirrel one, because this squirrel one decided to burn up right as it got powered up, which is a very common issue with risers. It's something about these things turning off, and then when you power them back on, it's almost like it's an electrostatic discharge that happens on there. And when you power it back up, it's like, I quit and commit suicide. I already know what went bad on this one, and I'm suspecting I've got a few other ones here too that I'm going to be playing around with. But the power module right here, this MOSFET basically committed suicide as it powered up. I mean, you can see the smoke rise off of it, made the whole room smell like burnt electronics in the mine. I thought I had burnt up one of my FPGAs, so I yanked that all apart, double checked, make sure that the FPGA was not hurt in any way, shape, or form when this decided to commit suicide. Now, I didn't know right away that this committed suicide. It wasn't until I looked at my FPGA after stripping the water blocks and everything off of it that I was like, there's nothing that obviously looks like it committed suicide. With the amount of smoke that came up off of it, off the rig, I'm sitting there basically smelling the FPGA, because if it burnt up bad enough to see smoke come off of it, you should be able to smell it somewhere on the PCB or see it in the traces. I did not see any kind of physical damage on the FPGA, and that's whenever I grabbed the riser that it was sitting on, and I gave it a little smell, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna puke from this. It was so raunchy. And then with nothing hooked up to it, I just put the FPGA into it and watched everything power back up on a known good riser. So I was like, oh, thank God I didn't burn up $900 worth of equipment. Thank God, right? Oh yeah. I'm at 594 subscribers. So I am like right around the corner from 600 subs. So whenever I get to 600 subs, I'm going to do a $20 Bitcoin giveaway for it. You know, kind of like a little thank you to all of you guys that have been awesome enough to subscribe and watch me. Pretty much I do a lot of these videos you know, as like a tutorial on things and a way to document what I'm doing. This way, if I ever have a question of something that I did, I can always revert back to one of my videos and be like, oh, wait a minute, I did that there that day. Oh, I forgot a step. You know, something to jog the memory sometimes. And I'm hoping that, you know, whatever I do also helps all of you awesome people out there. So let's go ahead and dig into it. So whenever you're playing around with any kind of PCBs or anything like that, and it's got the foam protection on the back, you don't want to be sitting there and doing anything with this until you basically peel it off. Reason being is that if you don't peel this up off of here, oh wow, squirrel really got a good one on here. Oh wow, I almost want to sit there and see if I've got anything that I can use here. A gift card, that works. So basically I'm trying to take this off of here. Otherwise it's just gonna make everything stinky. Oh, I should have done this beforehand. I didn't realize that Squirrely is a really good adhesive on their foam backers. Now this is just so that you can set the riser down on a metal surface and all the contact points that are underneath this thing won't start shorting out on your metal frames. Holy cow. Squirrel, you didn't have to go this hardcore. Heat gun. Yeah. Let's see here. Get off of here. I see. I'll clean that up in a second here. But what I do notice though is that this is actually has a trace on the back here that is kind of exposed, so you can kind of see a little bit of a difference here. So this is a trace route, and it definitely looks like do I have any pieces of it that we peeled off with this? No, none of the pieces of the trace peeled off, so it's actually got an exposed trace route on here. I'm not sure if I really like that, but oh my god, you can actually see. I don't know if it'll show this very well, but right below my finger here, you can actually see where the trace route actually broke on here, and it definitely looks burnt there too. So this thing took a major hit whenever it powered back on. It like discharged through this. Wow. I have to say I don't really like how Squirrel actually does their risers. That's actually kind of on the cheap side. Even compared to one of my other ones, I mean, you can just see that it's just a little bit better built, I think. Oh gosh. And of course, this one, the sticky back, the little foam on the back of this one, got so hot in the mine, basically, that it basically heated itself off. Whenever you're running lots of GPUs, you'll notice that if you got a hot pocket in the in your mining room, you'll start seeing foam and stuff like that losing its glue adhesion over time. Is that necessarily going to make these things burn up? No. It's just you can tell whenever you got a hot spot. That's all. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing around with some stuff on here, and let me get this stuff out of my way over here now that I got that up. The first thing I want to do is I want to actually pull up that little MOSFET that's on here, see if there's any kind of physical damage that I can see up on here. I've got this like little rubber pad, kind of helps with me not transferring heat to my desk. So I'm going to definitely use that, and I'd like to get a little bit of a bigger rubber mat that I can use to do all my soldering right up on top of it, so I'm not damaging my desk at all with heat, with solder that might drip off onto it eventually. So let's go ahead and start turning stuff on. That's my quick, and I'm going to pull one of my tweezers out. Hey, I said get out of here. So don't, I mean, I know a lot of people will do this. I've done it in the past too. Don't use your tweezers to basically scrape traces or scrape corrosion off of the PCB in any way, shape, or form. Over time, what that'll do is it'll cause the tweezers to be misaligned, bend them up really nicely, and you're basically gonna have to get some new ones. So definitely don't do that. If you need to scrape anything like that, you know, have yourself a little X-Acto knife. That's kind of what this is cheaper to replace a blade than it is to replace a tweezer kit. I can get blades for, you know, package of blades for, you know, $5 versus spending $15 because you broke your tweezers. So let's go ahead and dig on in. Sorry if my picture is a little on the grainy side. I don't have a DSLR camera. If you guys would like to see my video quality go up a little bit, I've got links in down below for the Patreon for DCA Adventures, and you can subscribe to the DCA Your Mining, which that helps out me in Crypto Mikkel. And if we get enough, I mean, DSLR cameras are like $800, you know, about $600 to $1,000 for a really killer camera. And I'd be able to like zoom in right onto this and have really good picture quality for all of you guys. Toothpick. An importance of high quality tweezers cannot be overstated. Yes, that is 100% correct. I do have a couple of different stylings on solder. So I got really thick solder. Now this is the solder that I use for automotive whenever I'm doing really thick gauge wiring. Easiest for me to utilize. Gets a lot of solder right where I need it. The smaller stuff is for basically working on small little components. This is not something that I would recommend you to utilize on itty bitty electronics. You will drop a ton of solder on there unnecessarily because this is just too thick of gauge. This is a very thin gauge that I would recommend doing. So let me pull that one off to the side here, and let's go ahead and start digging in. You can see it on my lights. I don't even have this thing hooked into the same turn down the fan a little bit here. And as I turn down the fan, I know that I'm gonna basically have more heat being directed in. The only thing I don't have is a good fume extractor. Yeah, my phone's not the greatest. I mean, I've got the camera on it is not like an Apple phone. The Apple phone's got killer cameras on there. Let's get this thing a little hotter. Alright, well, you get hotter. Let's see about getting you. We're at 600 degrees. Alright, so plastic riser does not like the heat like that. So let's see if I can turn this around and actually direct the heat away from the riser aspect. Alright, we got 800 degrees now. Alright, so 800 degrees, and that bad boy comes right on off. And then whenever I put it back into the base, it basically starts the cool down process until it turns off. So there is nothing on here that shows that the reason why this thing went bad. So that is pretty easy. It comes off pretty quickly once you know what temperature to actually put this stuff at. And oh, we got panda, oh, panda mining style. Ooh. And we got last piece to the puzzle. What's happening, my man? Glad to have all of you awesome people here. Definitely, like Red Panda says, smash that Lizzie like button. Yo. So at this point, this is where you would start cleaning up the PCB, pulling off the old solder, and putting on new. Oh, he just got his snapback hat, bro. Cool, excellent. So this thing comes up to 700 degrees. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually, let's get a little bit of solder on there, because I don't know if that's lead-free solder on there. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up just a little bit here, and then practice reflowing that back on. I need to get a little garbage can like right next to me. Hey, get untangled here. It'd be really nice to have like I do not like how they did this. Alright. Very nice, very nice. Thank you, thank you. Alright. Alright, then clean that tip off. Then I can grab some of the solder, and what I'm doing now is I'm gonna take off the solder I just basically put on there. This way I'm working with good clean stuff on here. And then whenever you're working with solder, guys, in a solder wick, if you pull the soldering iron off and the solder cools down in the wick, it's probably going to resolder itself back down to the component you're trying to clean. So don't just rip it off, because if you do, you're going to rip the pad off with it. So this much I do remember from back in the day. Then you can also use the solder wick to actually like scrape clean stuff. So if you got a little corrosion or something like that, you can use and bam. Get off of my knee. I don't have enough room. And then I also carry a little bit of wire cutters to cut off the soldered up ends. And I don't know if the camera will pick this up really nicely, but yeah, that's got a bunch of solder already stuck to it. Alright, cool. And all the solder is now done. Sweet! Yeah, actually, this piece here actually was... It burnt up really bad. I mean, at a point where I could smell how bad it was burnt. This thing actually gave off smoke. So, yeah, this thing was absolutely no good anymore. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, toothpick. Yeah, the voltage was off on there. It wasn't giving any voltage whatsoever. And like Grits is saying here, there was a trace on the back side of here that I can actually just grab a razor real quick and this trace actually goes right to a power. So this thing was bad, so bad. I mean, look at the trace on this. I'm not putting a bunch of pressure on there, and the trace is actually just peeling off of the PCB. This is Squirrel's riser for their FPGAs, and you can just see when it gave up bad. So that's why I'm sitting here messing around with this now. I'm not worried about damaging it. It's already broken. Yeah. Toothpick's like, Jesus, yes. So that's why I'm like sitting here. I'm like, yeah, I'll sit here and do some checking this stuff out and all that good stuff. Just because I love playing around with my it's new equipment. I gotta play with it, right? So the next step is, now that I've cleaned up the PCB on here, is to actually put fresh solder onto these points. This way, look how it's like GPU Jesus to be exact. Yo, that's hilarious. So now we're gonna go ahead and put more solder onto the traces, onto the pads here. So I've got 3 pads here. And then this back here is not a trace. This is more like a ground slash, they're using the PCB to actually help cool the chipset down. So you want to make sure that it's got good contact here. So you got to make sure you got to put solder on here and onto the 3 pads. You don't have to load it up with like 10 tons of solder, just enough to be able to cover the joints. Okay, now I want you to point down. And whenever you're soldering, guys, I don't have a fume extractor. That'll be next. Don't try to breathe in the whiff of smoke that comes off of the solder. It is lead solder, so yeah. Good here. Awesome. Perfect. Make sure that I don't have 10 tons of it. I mean, I can clean it up in a second here with the hot air rework station. So the next thing is I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, I'm just gonna practice taking the stuff on and off with this. Let me make sure I've got the right set of tweezers for the job. This thing gets up to temperature relatively quick. And when you got it, whenever you got it in place, it'll kind of fall back into place, and then I just give it a good little press down. Just like that. And then from here, sit there and clean up the solder joints just a little bit here. Bam. And that's pretty much, I can pretty much just, oops, doesn't want to grab. And I can pretty much just grab it back up by that component again. That's how you know you're back on there. I pressed down onto the joint, onto it, so that I know for a fact that it's making good contact back with the PCB. It's like, I'm ready for a break. Gotta make a supply run. Thought I had everything. Oh yeah, definitely make sure you got everything you need. So that's pretty much how you would replace one of those. Now let's say I wanted to replace one of these capacitors. Now I know the capacitors are good, but we're gonna go ahead and take one off anyway, because it looks like it should be a lot of fun to do so. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make a little stand for this because I've got to warm up the back side of this to get the PCB warm enough to take off the capacitor. I'm going to go after that capacitor right there. Just like that. Wow, this thing like takes it off quick. Holy cow. And that, boys and girls, is a capacitor if you've never seen one. Now, a good way to tell if one of these are bad is, I know it's my lighting, is my cameras and my lighting. I need DSLR cameras so that I can really get some high def quality photos of this. But right where the connectors are, you're going to see like it either being bulged at the very bottom, meaning that the internals got so hot that it basically popped. And sometimes you'll even see it get so bad that the very top of the cap will actually like bubble and dome out. Toothpick, yes. I got a BCU 1525 with it. 1525 with it, and this riser failed. So, if you guys are like wondering, well, shoot, it's like now you got like these two little holes in the board where the original capacitor was in. So at this point in time, you're going to want to sit there and actually clean up the holes. This way you can actually put a capacitor back into it, guys. And then make sure you know what side is what. Now, it's really nice on the board here. It'll tell you. So it's got like a little white half and a dark half, and that corresponds on the capacitor, so you know which direction the capacitor needs to go back in. Which makes it very convenient whenever you're doing soldering. So the first thing I'm going to do now is, of course, we're going to go ahead and clean. And being that it's in a hole, holes don't like to be cleaned up. Yeah, Grits. Yeah, dealing with blown caps is very easy until you start dealing with like the really itty bitty micro ones, and then you just need a pair of micro magnifying glasses so you can kind of see it, and then you'll start seeing the little subtle nuances on this. Yes, Toothpick. I still have them. They are chugging away in the mining room right now. I've got two of them, actually. I'm waiting for the other riser to go bad on that one. Considering I'm seeing how this one went bad, man, I don't have a lot of faith in this now. I almost want to sit there and put my good one on there. I'm just saying. So let's go ahead and fart around on this a little bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to take as much of the solder off as I can. We'll see how nice this goes. Ooh, I got one out. Let's see if I can get the other side of that out. Hey, I got that all out. Ooh, that rarely happens. Usually what ends up happening is you gotta cut like some of the solder wick up so you can get a few strands, and then you like heat everything up and you drop the little bit of the solder strands into it. Now this is copper, and it's the reason why the solder wants to wick onto it. Is that the copper gets hot enough, and all that good stuff. Oh, nice, Grits. He's like, no large caps in his job, so you're not dealing with caps bigger than what's on here probably. I mean, this is probably, depending on what kind of components you work on, this might be a huge capacitor. Especially if you're doing circuit board stuff. You don't usually see bigger than this until you get onto a power supply. That's when you start messing with some really big components. It's a lot easier to map traces on there and all that good stuff. And Crypto McKell's like, gotta do it and then take a part right now. Yeah. all large he means. Oh, all large caps. Yeah, the big caps for like power supplies or something like that, they are a lot easier to work with, and also take a little bit more heat to get everything to solder up onto it. So the next thing I'm going to do on this is let's go ahead and stab this back into here. Now that I've made a pathway, there we go. And you know that you got it nice and clean whenever the capacitor actually slots all the way down to the PCB and the little nubs come all the way through. Oh, go get the other riser and compare the two? Yeah, that'd actually be pretty interesting. Yeah, take the other riser off and put my better riser on there that I trust a lot more, and actually peel the back of it off and see how the back traces look compared to what I'm seeing on here right now. Yeah, for science, that would be good. So let's go ahead and grab the soldering iron and some solder, and we'll go ahead and load that up. Now I'm sitting here, whenever the smoke comes up off it, I'm kind of holding my breath, so so if you see me stop talking for a second, that's kind of why. And that's one well secured. I'm sitting here pulling it. That's not coming back out anytime soon. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and take off a resistor. That's a really small component right here next to the capacitor. And I know that's a resistor because I just know what my resistor is. This is a porcelain resistor right here, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. You know what? I'm going to cool that down for a second here. And I want to change tips in there. I got a large tip on there. I'm going to go to a smaller tip. It's got a cool, whenever you park it, it's got a cool down feature on there. Let's go ahead. off. Put that on. Turn it back on. All right, bam, just like that. And that took it off quick. Holy cow. I don't have the right gauge wire to be able to replace the trace on this. And on top of that, I would need to replace the MOSFET on here, just because, yeah, the MOSFET burnt up, and I'm sure whenever that burnt up, it backfed this trace on here. No good. No good could possibly come of that. So I don't trust this one. These things just burn up so easily. I've never understood why they do that, but yeah. Oop. All right. So. Alright, get some stuff on here. Alright. Alright, nice and clean. I got all the solder up. I put my leaded solder on there. So let's go ahead. Now that I've got the pad nice and clean, we'll go ahead and put some new solder on. And what's nice about the hot air rework station is that whenever you get, as soon as you get the solder flowing really good, especially on like resistors, as long as your fan for it's not turned up really crazy, you'll be able to just watch it just kind of fall right back into place. So I'm gonna try to turn the I'm going to turn down the heat on, and the fan on here. Oh! Okay. It's already doing what I was fearing. So I probably want to turn... turn the fan down on it so I'm not like blowing it away like right away. What I'm doing is I'm also holding it down, because as soon as it... Ooh. Alright, I think that worked. And then from here you can just sit there and drop on a little bit of solder just to make sure And then I've got a beveled tip on here, so I got to make sure I got the tip in the right spot. There we go. Just like that. All right. So that was me taking off a couple of components on here. Took off a resistor and put everything back on here. Are my solder joints like the prettiest? No, but I haven't done solder joints in over 20 years. I've been soldering wire up for the longest time, just because that's how I put together subwoofers, fix electrical components on cars. You know, if I got to splice a wire in because I found a bad lead on them going into the connector area, because typically on automotive, wiring will fail within 6 to 8 inches of the connector. Just due to you've cut the wire casing open and moisture and everything starts just creeping in from where you cut the wire casing open. So yeah, that was actually pretty easy. Now I wouldn't go after like the connector plug on here without, I don't know if I can do that. Sure I could. Let me try to take that connector off. I'm kind of curious if I can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suspend this and I'm going to hope that the connector just drops off. And I'm going to try to do it from the back side, because if you do it from the front side, it's plastic. And whenever you're doing repairs of any sort, the last thing you want to do is start melting plastic. So I wonder if I should try to wick it up a little bit and then do this. I wonder if that'll help. Because, man, it doesn't want to do what I want it to do. I'm going to try to wick some of this off first. Wow. Warm up the board and it really, like, the solder comes off really nice. So I'm trying to take the bulk of the solder off of each joint because these legs come right through really like a lot. And I've had luck before by trying to take as much of the solder off before I try to heat everything up. See how nice I can get this to do what I want. Ooh. Note to self, man, this soldering iron is good enough to really heat up the frickin' the copper solder wick. It's actually making my hand a little hot. I think I can get that other one a little nicer. I don't think it'll come off quite yet. Nope. Alright, so I've got all of that up now. Now I should be able to take this. Let me go ahead and something that I can stick into the connector a little bit so I can grab the connector as I warm it up. There we go. Bam. I got the connector off. Yo. And I did it without melting the plastic. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's kind of cool. Now, what was interesting, though, is that they actually dropped solder onto all of them. And I got the holes are clean. Holy cow. Toothpick's like, congrats, yo! I win! Oh. But you can, it's hard to see on my camera, but you can see this one hole did not get any solder, so it's still copper. All the rest of these got some solder dropped into it, and I'm not sure why a few of these got solder dropped into it if it wasn't using those connectors. Interesting. Very interesting. So now I can sit there and actually clean up the solder on this just a little bit more. And let's go ahead and see if I need to clean that up at all. Nah, it looks all good. I'm definitely going to want to support this so that it doesn't fall out. Toothpick, good question. What kind of rework station? So this is the Quick 861DW rework station. Goes up to like 900 degrees with like 120% fan on there, I guess. I don't know what the fan speed really means. It's got 3 presets in there, so if you're, depending on what you're doing, I can program it to be low fan, high heat, low fan, low heat, or have it high fan, high heat. Just 3 presets on there. It does work better than the Hakko hot air rework station. I know that the Hakko is like one of the most popular brands in China for all the factory workers. They are expensive, but they do work very well. But the problem that I have with like the Hakko rework station is that it's not as easy to use as the Quick, and the Quick actually maintains its temperature, I believe, in my opinion, from what all the reviews and everything that I've done, reading through all the reviews on everything. It looks like the Quick is one of the better ones on the market, and just to top it all off, it's like $500 less. You're talking a Hakko hot air rework station is like almost $1,000, and the Quick 861DW does everything that the Hakko hot air rework station does at $300. So for value, I would go after the Quick. That would be me. That's the reason why I did get one. Now I did not do that with the soldering iron, just because I do know some of the reviews on a lot of the other soldering irons. If you want something that you can switch tips on to it and stuff like that, you're going to need to get yourself something like a Hakko. Even this the soldering iron, I've got the Hakko FM203. It's not the most user-friendly device out there, but what I do like is that I can sit there and change over to different soldering tips. You want to know what's funny about the Hakko? It comes with the tip holder, but no soldering tips. For $500, they couldn't toss in not one soldering tip. Big complaint that I have from them, but whenever they're like kind of the industry standard for one of the #1 soldering stations out there, unfortunately, ugh. Oh, you've got the you had the 853D. Nice. All right, so let's go ahead and get this back soldered on. I need to get like a spool holder, so this is a little easier. Alright. That's one. Now that I got 2 of them hooked up, I can just go at it. Seen that tip off a little bit. Fill up these holes. I'm a believer that you should never be able to tell that somebody was in here. Perfect. Oh, that's cool. That you're looking to 3D print a spool holder. Nice. Yep, the sign of a good quality repair. You come into it, you look at it, you're like, oh, nobody was in there. Look at that. And that's pretty much nice and soldered up now. So I mean, if I was sitting there and I was done and I had done fixed this, you know, this is where you can sit there and put this into an ultrasonic cleaner, clean it up the rest of the way, drop it into some 97% alcohol for like a minute, like a few seconds, just to get all the water out of it, water and cleaner out of it. And then you can sit there and put this into an oven. Now the oven that you see a lot of people doing, they are not using the oven to reflow solder. They are using an oven for two things. One, to heat up the PCB, or two, I mean, we're just trying to get the PCB a little bit warm this way. Whenever you're playing with the hot air station or soldering, you're doing it with components that are a little bit warmer, so it takes less time to solder and unsolder your components. And then two, you're using the oven, if you've just done an ultrasonic cleaning, that you're quickly drying any kind of water that might have gotten trapped underneath components. Any kind of water liquid that gets underneath here will start causing corrosion down the line. And when you start passing current through a part that's had a little bit of water on there, it starts to create like this green corrosion on there that will start bridging components together until they don't work anymore. Then you'll have to unsolder everything again, clean it all up, start the process all over again. Oh yes. I can sit there and flux everything if I really wanted to. Actually, here, I'll show you. You bring up a good thing, Grits, that I was not using a whole lot of flux on there. I wasn't really using any flux. So, this is what Grits is talking about. This is flux. So, this was just pretty much me trying to get used to using the equipment. Now I'm going to do it on this one. So, if I wanted to do it, we put a little bit of flux up on here. And just like that.
Whew. Gets a little on the toasty side. Let's make sure I'm not pointing it right at plastic and all that good stuff. There we go. And we'll go ahead and put some of that awesome flux down. Now we're gonna do the repairs the right way, because now I got flux on there and all that good stuff. I know the soldering wire that I got has a little flux in it, but this flux is a lot better. And I'm trying not to breathe that smoke in. Hurry up, every chance you get. Wait till you're Rossmann trained where the F-bombs. Oh God, yes. Buy now, don't delay at RossmannGroup.com, right? For everybody that knows that. Don't delay, buy today, right? Isn't that what he says? The only thing I don't have is... yeah, fuck Apple. Hey, if you guys got Apple products with water damage, I'll fix your Apple products without doing what fucking Apple does, which is wiping all your data off of the device. Why? Because I can do that. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to get some rubbing alcohol. Never buy Apple products. No, I don't recommend buying an Apple product ever. I don't own Apple products. Never have and never will. Because Apple likes to fucking commit suicide from time to time. And Apple thinks that they're so proprietary that they don't think that anybody outside of Apple is qualified to do their repairs. Cat, no. No. Go away. For right now. Yeah, on hair. And you know, Apple doesn't like to sit there and release their board schematics either, which is garbage. It's like, oh yeah, we'll back off and tell you that you can repair our devices, but we're not going to give you any schematics because that's proprietary. It's like, fuck Apple.
All right, so let's go ahead and get some of this awesome stuff right up on here. Plenty. Yes, there are places where you can actually get schematics. I have found a few places that realistically have no issues with giving people schematics. It's just you got to know where to grab them from, unfortunately. I've got a couple of places where I can get schematics from, but I don't know for everything. Yo, Savage, what's going on? Got some of this lovely board repair going on. Deadwood's like, Apple warranty policy is that you can and will always buy new and pay more as we tell you how much you suck without our products by buying more Apple lemmings. Yes, yes, yes. And just to make sure, we got enough flux everywhere. Yeah, I've never have ever touched any Apple product, not even an iPod. Never. During everybody was getting iPods for their portable music, I was still carting around my CD bag. Thousands of CDs. Oh my God. Cannot believe how much CDs I actually had back in the day. Switch hands.
I guess I could say I have no right to repair, and then I look back over the past 24 years of driving and doing my own wrenching, and I can't imagine how much money I have saved. You are 100%. I mean, I've been working on cars since I can remember. The first car I ever worked on was a 1974 Nova. It was my uncle's car, and sat there and helped him set it up to be a drag racer. So yeah. Oh my God, imagine if Ford made it illegal to open up your hood. That is insane. Yeah, working on cars since I was a kid too. So I mean, I get you. I mean, the first time I remember working on a car, I probably was like 6, maybe 7 years old. And yeah. I've been working on cars for over 20 years, doing drag racing and then just general repair. And Toothpick, Ford was one of the very first companies to ever come out with the I want to make it so that anybody at their home could repair their cars. That's how Henry Ford started it. He wanted it to be to where you could repair your vehicle with things laying around your house. I mean, just let that sink in. Henry Ford was so forward thinking, he wanted you to repair his cars. He knew if you drove it like you should be, and it's going to take maintenance to keep it on the road. He knew that, the engineering process back then, some things were state of the art, other things, it was lackluster. So it was really nice to know that Ford was one of the first ones to sit there and wanted people to repair their stuff. Over the years, it's like now that we've embedded computers on everything, a lot of people open up the hood and are like, oh my God, this is like so confusing. It's not really that it's confusing. Imagine, like the old carburetors. It had to know how to do multiple things. It had to know what the temperature of the air was. It needed to be able to atomize the fuel, because you just can't pour raw fuel. It needs to be atomized. It needed to know how much throttle you were giving it. It needed to know how fast you were going, and all this other good stuff. So what they've done over the years is that they've isolated everything and given it one job. So instead of having a carburetor to try to atomize the fuel, now they have a fuel injector. It's only got one job: atomize fuel. Don't worry about what the temperature is. Just do what the computer tells you to do. One job. So over the years, yes, they've gone more complex on the technology of what's underneath there, but at the same time, it is still basic. You only need a few things for a car to run: air, fuel, suck, squeeze, and boom. The 5 elements to having a motor run. Do these newer manufacturers really want you to be working on their newer technology cars? Not so much. Reason being is that if you don't do something right, you're going to throw it out of specifications for emissions. So from the emission standpoint, they want trained people to know how to work on the car. And what's nice about being quote unquote trained is that you're not looking at needing to be like Apple, where you got to spend $2,000 for training and you still can't replace some stuff right off the bat. At least I can go to a small community college, get a little bit of training. I don't have to sit there and get college degrees. I just go in for just a technical training and spend a couple of $100, and I will be able to basically work on any vehicle out there. I went to college for automotive repair. I've got 3 associate's degrees, 7 specialization certificates, NATAF certified. I've got my 609A test, which is for coolant, for refrigerant recovery, so that basically the state knows that I'm not taking a screwdriver and venting Freon into the atmosphere. They know that I know how to recover it properly. I love dealing with AC work where other people are like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to open up the dash. And I'm like, yo, give it to me. Yes, 80% of the profits come from their service centers. That's a real motivation for them. Basically, service centers keep dealerships alive. It's not the amount of cars they're selling out the front door, it's the amount of cars they're working in the back shop. That is for sure. Mikhail's like, please say certification again. Yeah, hence why they're so fucking overly engineered. Yeah, they are a little overly engineered, but it's a give and take relationship. The only thing I don't like about with these newer cars is them making me, as a technician, have to buy new proprietary tools to work on just a couple of things. I swear, they took this one directly from Apple. They're like, hey Apple, you've been fucking everybody this whole time with making them get tools that you don't have to work on anywhere else except on an Apple product. Yo, we're gonna do the same thing now. You know, Volkswagen and their triple squares and stuff like that, just to take an axle shaft, half shaft off. Oh, fuck Nazi wagons. Oh, toothpick. That is a great path to go down. AC work. The reason why I like the AC work, one big reason. I mean, beyond that, the customer's coming to you for convenience. They want to be conveniently cooled down while they're driving home every day. So now we have we have supply and demand on this. I can sit there and do an AC diagnostic, right? AC diagnostic's going to pay me 1.2 to 1.5 hours. Okay, I'll have it diagnosed in 30 minutes, and I'm still getting paid the 1.2, 1.5 to do all of this. So if I'm getting paid, let's say 1.2, right, and I've got 12 AC diagnostics to do in a row, I can have all of that done by 12 o'clock, make my hours for today, and if nothing sells, I'll walk up to my boss and be like, I made my hours for today, I'm going home. But there was a reason that I can get myself into the 110 book hours in 1 week. 40 hours, 110 book hours booked. Because I'm not afraid to do AC work, suspension work. I love suspension work. You get to take big hammers and smash shit. I love it. Yeah, exactly. Deadwood, oh, like the VW cars, yeah. Fucking Nazi wagons. And Deadwood's like, yeah, AC or electrician. Yeah, those are two easy areas. AC work or an electrician work, it's not bad. Oh, 4x4 axles. Yeah, you can come do my 95 Ford F-250 and take out the center shaft joint. Yeah, you need a special tool to pop that off unless you're willing to pull down the whole front differential. Forget that. So I still have to grab the tool to be able to press out the U-joint out of my the inner U-joint on my passenger side axle half shaft. Oh, you want one of those 1.9 Nazi wagon diesels? The ones that, can't pass emissions and then they got caught for cheating it all out? My front axles, it's got 3 U-joints in there. So it's got 2 outer ones so that you can turn your wheels. And then going to the passenger side, because it's such a long axle, it has a little pivot in there so that the suspension can move around still too. Yeah. So it's segmented. It's awesome. There we go. It beeps to let you know that you got it up to temperature.
And I'm going to go ahead and finish up this little job right here. Oh, wow. That looks really professional. Three U-joints, how is it kept in time then? These are just for the axles themselves. It's nothing that needs to be in time. It just allows the axle to be able to move around with the suspension or when you're steering the tires. So it's just giving it all. Yeah, it's basically a double cardan joints. So nothing special. All right. Wow. Second set of joints looks a lot better once I get used to using the equipment a little bit too. Oh no, I'm an HVAC certified mechanic too. I'm a master certified. I've got my ASC's A1 through A8, plus my my L2 certification for the master technician. I've been in the field for over 10 years, so I've got all the time invested to qualify for the master technician. And I also have my C1 from ASC, which the C1 means that I am a certified service writer too. So not only can I do the repairs, but I can also sell the job and explain it to customers. That's some of what one of my strong points is being able to, of course, talk to people. So I can sit there and really get down and dirty. If I've got somebody that is at my level of being technical, I can sit there and explain it to them in very technical terms. And vice versa, if I come across somebody who knows zero about cars and they're like, it just doesn't work right, something's wrong, I don't know what it is, I can go through, take the time, and explain it to them enough that they feel comfortable with what I'm about to do. Yeah, I'm basically the same way, Deadwood. I'm a jack of all trades. I used to run my own roofing business back in the day. Back when I was like 18, 19 years old, I had my own roofing business. Made really good money doing that. Did structural framing and stuff like that for roofs. So, I mean, it's like I understand framing, I understand weight distribution, all that good stuff. I do body welding. I have MIG welders out in my garage. So I mean, I'm a jack of all trade. Oh, you do metal roofing too? I've done metal roofing repair, but I've actually never like laid one out from scratch. I've only done like repair on them. Just never got into it. The worst thing that I was doing was like commercial buildings where they had the flat roofs. So you're either tarring the roof up, or you're doing what they call rubber rollout, where you're up there with a blowtorch on a nice hot day, 3,000 degree blowtorch, and you're melting stinky rubber onto the roof. Oh God. Absolutely hated doing that stuff. I guess it's some of the reasons why I don't have business no more. Especially like right around the time of I want to say like
'01, '02, the housing market started getting a little funky, and the insurance companies started getting involved. I wasn't going to have nothing to do with that. So, insurance companies were all about underbidding everybody. I'm not cool with that. So I got out of it and went back into automotive, where I just have more fun. Yeah, super easy. Don't use egg panels, and use standing seam, and never replace a roof again. Yes, as long as you got good metal that they're using, where it's not going to it resists corrosion, and definitely make sure that you're painting it every once in a while too, so that you're leaving a good coating of protection on there. Yeah, I've actually had to replace a few metal panels just because the customer never maintained their building. It was like portions of the roof that were like underneath the trees, so the trees just holds moisture onto the roof, or the tree is like on the roof a little bit, so every time the wind blows, it scratches the paint off the metal sheet. So over time, it exposes the metal, and then rust happens. Yeah, the galvanized roofs are definitely a lot better today than they were, like, let's say 40 years ago, whenever they were just starting to go. Yeah, and they aren't doing tune-ups, exactly. No paint down the roof. They let the trees scratch everything off. Not worth it. I've got a metal garage, and anytime I hear my willow tree starting, like you can hear the branches like kind of dragging across the roof, I get up on the roof within the week, and I'm like trimming everything off the roof. I'm like, no scratches on my roof. But what I like about the the metal garage that I've got, it's got like a 20-year warranty on it. Baller. All right, so it's been an hour and a half. I hope that if you guys got any questions, certainly ask away now. Now is a perfect time to be asking some awesome questions while I sit here and kind of clean stuff up a little bit. Clean up my solder wicks that I've been cutting off. Put my cap onto my alcohol so it doesn't keep evaporating. I hate getting called away. Probably miss a lot. Yeah. No, I'm basically buttoning up here. So if you guys got any questions, now is the time to ask. Nice. He's like, no, I hijacked his attention. Yeah. All right, here. Put you back in. Clean you up a little bit here. A board heater.
I've actually never really utilized the board heater. Even back in the day, whenever I was doing circuit board repair back in the day, we were doing cold solder joints. So we weren't warming them up with a hot air rework station or putting them into an oven. So I would almost have to sit there and do a little bit of research, but any of them that you can get, you know, that will fit the board that you're putting in there and isn't going to try to cook everything, is a good board. I mean, like one of the old, you know, easy bake oven thing styles. I don't know. I'd almost have to do some research, so I'll get back to you on that one, Grits. That's the best that I can sit there and say at this point, just because I've never used a board heater. This is the first. Toothpicks, like I use my Foreman grill. For sure, Grits. Yeah, whenever I do a little bit of research on there, I will certainly get back with you and go from there. And if anybody's got any other questions, certainly fire them away right now. Otherwise, if you'd like to, definitely, guys, smash that Lizzie like button. Of course, my Stream Deck's going to act a little wonky on me for whatever reason. There we go. Definitely, guys, smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and all that good stuff. It helps me grow my channel. And the quicker I get to 600 subscribers, the quicker I'm going to do a $20 worth of Bitcoin giveaway. If you would like to support me and Crypto Mikkel, certainly I got links in down below to the Patreon. You can go ahead, hop into there, and join up with the DCA Your Mining, and you'll get some of that sweet behind-the-scenes knowledge and all that good stuff. And if you guys would like to have me work on any of your, you know, you got a dead motherboard that you're wanting to get fixed up. I mean, I can't do pinout repairs. I don't have magnifying glasses to be able to see all the little pinouts. But if you got a bad capacitor on there or something like that, or your laptop needs a battery replacement, or you spilled some liquid onto it, certainly you can send it over to me. I will have fun fixing it. I can get a lot of the components myself, not an issue. So certainly hit me up in Discord. All the links to Discord are always down below. If this is your first time here, certainly hit me up over there. Yeah, if you'd like to see some like better top-down camera imaging than what I've already got here, guys, definitely get onto the Patreon and get part of the DCA Your Mining, because like if I get enough people in there supporting me, I'll be able to actually afford a DSLR camera, which will give me a better top-down zoom on everything. You'll be able to see all the components better, and as I do any of these repairs of any sort, I will do all of them if I'm able to. I mean, if I get a whole ton of them in, I'm not going to be able to do all of them live, but I will try to do as many of them as I possibly can live. Do all the board repairs. Grits is like, do it! Join the Patreon. Great group. Yes. And it basically helps me get some better equipment. I mean, I'm just your friendly at-home miner. I work a 9-to-5 job. And there'll be some updates coming on in the Patreon with DCA Your Mining for behind the scenes updates of things that are to come. Things that I'm extremely excited over. Oh yeah, grits, for sure. Exclusive content. And guys, I hope you have learned a few things today. Enjoyed watching me do a little bit of futzing around, reteaching myself how to play with some of the equipment. So yeah, I had a blast. I mean, I plan on doing more of these style of videos, just so that you all know. Any chance that I get, I'm going to, if I got any kind of like electronics that I need to do repairs on, anything, I'm going to do my best to do them live for all of you. With that, while you're on your way out the door, guys, smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, share this video on your favorite social media. Helps me get that outreach to all of you awesome people, and it gets me quicker to 600 subscribers. Ooh. With that, I'll definitely see you all on the next one. Peace.